I really can't stand when models are not seen as like human beings. Like that really winds us up because I don't think you get the best out of a shoot or the team if you don't work as a team.
Yeah.
Like you all have to be on the same wavelength, the same page. Otherwise, you're not going to get what you need out of it. And I feel like the model really has to be involved.
Yeah,
They're
definitely.
like the star of the show.
Welcome to this week's Just Another Group Chat. We have some lovely guests with us today. We have our lovely Rachel.
Hello.
And we have our good friend Terry.
Hi.
So, Terry, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Right, okay.
That's okay.
Yeah,
so
that's
if you just
fine.
tell us who you are and what you do.
So my name's Terry Costello and I run a model agency called Savalas Models in Newcastle.
We're going to go straight into it. Rach, I've got Rach in today because Rachel does all of our scouting in-house for WBCo. And she goes, and she deals with all of our kind of models, and she deals with you a lot, Terry, doesn't she?
Yeah,
So
she
you guys
does.
have
Me
got-
and Lisa, yeah.
Yeah. So we've kind of thought this would be a nice topic of discussion, I guess. So if anybody's interested in getting into the modelling industry, or I guess just interested in being a model, this is going to be some behind the scenes background information on what to do, how to get there, but also the behind the scenes of what it's really like. Because that's important.
Definitely.
So, first things first, tell me a little bit about you, Terry, and if this was something that you always thought you'd do.
I never thought I was going to own a model agency when I was growing up, and especially like in school. But I can just remember from like me early like school years, I was always eager to earn my own money.
Right.
So I just
You're always entrepreneurial.
Well, I must have been.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with just trying to find a job and just earning pocket money. So I think I was around 13, I started getting itchy feet. I think it's because like my parents had like Saturday jobs, like my mum, I think she worked in a baker's, and I don't know whether my dad had a paper round or he was starting some sort of tailoring apprenticeship back in the day. So I think with having parents who had like Saturday jobs when they were younger, I mean, them days, like, you worked really young, didn't you? And you could actually work at 13, but I think it was quite hard for businesses. I think you had to have different like insurance and stuff. So it was 14 when I took it seriously. And I was like, right, okay, well.
14, get in.
I know. I was like, what do I need to do? I need to write a CV. I've never done a CV before.
No way, get in.
I know. I just remember going onto Google, looking at CV templates, and I just sort of like adapted it, and I tried to put in like my people skills, even though I had none at that age. Experience. Went to John Spence Community High School. That's all I've done. And I just went round cafes and hairdressers and clothing shops. I went round places in North Shields, Wallsend. I went into the Granger Market. And I got offered a job at the French Oven in the Granger Market. And then I got offered a job at Gary Headley's, the hairdressers in Eldon Gardens. And I was like, oh, well, which one do I go for? And I thought, oh, well, the hairdressers is dead swanky and it's really cool. It's in town. I love being in town because I think, like, when you're a teenager, you love to go to town with your friends and spend your money and save up your dinner money and don't tell your mum. So I took that job and I started working there on a Saturday. I think
You were 14.
14, and I think it was half a day because you could only do half a day at that age. I think it was like 4 or 5 hours. And then I worked on a Thursday after school, and I was just like making cuppas, sweeping up hair, cleaning out the colour bowls and all that.
So what do you think it is about your kind of childhood? And I guess I know you've said there your parents had Saturday jobs, but what was it about you that kind of really wanted to earn? What was it that made you think, I know we're digging deep. This is what happens on the podcast.
Love it. Well, I just think like I've not come from like a wealthy background.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Even like setting up the business, it wasn't like, oh, there you go, son, there's like 10, 20, 50 or 100K to start your business or whatever. I had never had that.
So did you see your parents, I guess, struggle for like the nicer things or anything like that, or more?
They worked hard. Like my mum worked in Marxie's all her life, pretty much. But she would always do without and give to me.
Lovely.
Which obviously now I can really appreciate. Do you know what I mean? Growing up, and I like to spoil my mum at Christmas and birthdays and things like that. And hopefully, like, as like things progress with the company, I'll be able to treat her more.
So do you think that's what maybe did it? You kind of have seen this give and you've kind of thought, right, I want to be able to do that as well?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I love to give presents to anyone. I love if I'm close to you, I'll gift you nice things.
Yeah.
Not, being materialistic, but I just like to do that, enjoy
Yeah.
that. But my dad, he had his own tailoring business.
Well, there you go.
So he was always going out to work and stuff and like traveling the country, and he was quite well respected and known in his industry. So I think maybe it's like the two together is how I've got that in us today.
Yeah, I am always trying to kind of figure out, like when I meet an entrepreneur or I meet a business person, like what is it that they have kind of got from younger years, or what is it that's made them that driven, self-motivated person?
Yeah,
because those are the two things that you have to be an entrepreneur.
Definitely.
Or to own your own business. Drive and self-motivation are just vital.
Totally.
So what is it that gives you that? But if you've had parents, usually there's either been parents who have, I guess, really worked really, really hard, and you've watched them, or you've had parents who have had their own business and you've seen what it takes, and you get a bit of a bug for it. So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to come to you.
Okay, I was going to say I am not an entrepreneur, so I cannot put my 2 pence in.
No, but you do have entrepreneurial skills, and you also, yeah, you do, and you also, I find it very interesting because you did like art and everything. You've always been artsy.
Yeah.
So
creative.
yeah,
I
very
like the word artsy.
very creative, very creative.
Reminds us of like Blue Peter.
But I think you are in, if I could pick the perfect job for you now, especially when I see you on a shoot and you're doing your thing and you're detail orientated and you kind of, we get the shot and I'm like, oh, Rachel, yes. I just couldn't pick a better job or position for you to be in to kind of own every single one of your skills.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's interesting, I think. Did you ever think, or did you ever picture yourself being like behind the scenes on a set or behind the scenes on a shoot? Or
Never. I'm not a planner. Like I didn't ever have a plan for my life. It was like, right, okay, get through school, get through uni, do things that you want to do so you just enjoy your life and then see where it takes you. So I don't think I ever had a set plan for what I expected from my life. I think it was just, we'll go with the flow kind of thing. So when I ended up where I was, it was like, oh, okay, I can do this.
Yeah,
like, this is like this makes sense. This is kind of obviously where my life's led to. I mean,
she says that so simply, but you worked hard. I remember.
I do work hard, but it's I don't know. I don't think I've got anything to compare it to. Like there was no, I didn't have a goalpost in mind. But if I could go back 10 years and would tell myself like, oh, in 10 years' time, you'll be working behind the scenes on photo shoots for a beauty brand, I'd be like, not me, surely. Yeah. So I don't know. That's life.
It's one of them things. Interesting, isn't it? We'll chat a little bit about the modelling industry, I guess. Tell me, first of all, a little bit about your story, about how you set the company up, when did you start it, the journey, I guess.
So, well, it's 8 years today,
well
exactly.
Done. Oh my God, that's
you.
amazing. Congratulations.
So 8 years ago today, 2014.
Today?
I know, isn't that crazy? Well, it was probably like May time when I started coming to terms with the idea. So back in 2014, I was doing hairdressing at the time.
Yeah.
Was at college, doing my apprenticeship, and I could do hair, but I just couldn't pass maths. So that's what was stopping us from getting me level 2.
Right.
I just couldn't pass the maths tests. I'm just not good with exams. I can know my own numbers now, which is good.
Yeah.
And I know how to do numbers in the business. I'm not an expert, but I'm not too bad.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't get that test done.
Yeah.
So anyways, I started falling out of love with the whole environment of working in a hair salon. Like I loved me customers and I'm such a people person. I can talk to anyone. And I think working in a hairdresser, you've got to have that skill. But the environment, I just fell out of love with it. But my passions for fashion, which sounds a bit corny, but it's true, started to grow.
Yeah.
And I just started to become obsessed with buying me Vogue and looking at the shoots and just being intrigued and wondered like, how does that happen? I would love to be associated with that. And I worked for a fashion show company and that asked us to do the choreography.
Amazing.
So I was just showing the models like how to walk and just going through routines and coming up with routines. And then they says, oh, can you find some models for her?
Wow.
So I started looking for models for the show. And then I just started, like, my skills just started really, like,
coming out
really. And I was like, oh, I'm really, like, enjoying this. And I feel like I'm quite
at
good.
this.
Yeah, I'm all right.
And everyone around us was just like, you're really good at working with models. You should definitely, like, consider doing something like this in the future. Like, nothing like an agency was mentioned. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was, like, surrounded by, like, really, like-minded people, like photographers, makeup artists. That's how I met Roxy. Stylists. And I was like, oh, my God, this is amazing. And my friend Marie at the time, she was setting up Hidden Heights, a studio.
Yeah.
So I was watching her, like, set up a studio, and I was, like, really inspired by her. Like, oh my God, she's a photographer and she set up her own studio, and it was in the centre of a town, and it was so cool. And I think it was, like, pretty much one of the first sort of, like, newer studios to pop up at that time. So just being around people like that just really spurred us on to think, oh, maybe I could do something. And I was thinking of, like, fashion shows. I was thinking, oh, well, you know, I don't know if there's really, like, a market for it, and it's a lot of hard work. And then a model agency did cross my mind, and I was like, oh my God, well, I know that's going to be even more hard work. But I just felt like there wasn't an agency like Savalas, and I could see all these different people, and I really wanted them represented, and I feel like I could represent them really well. And then I wanted to work with the likes of ASOS and River Island, and I noticed that they weren't on my doorstep. And usually in the past, like, if you were signed to a Manchester agency or Newcastle or Scotland or whatever, and you wanted a model to work with ASOS, you would place them with a London agent. Whereas I never worked like that. I wanted to achieve that for myself, not to be selfish, but I just wanted that for me company. And I wanted to put the North East on the map. Because I was quite happy being in the North East and living, and I couldn't afford to go to London. So I was like, right, well, why can a model not just go on a train to a job in London?
Exactly. They're all getting on trains anyway, aren't they?
Do you know what I mean? So it was like educating your clients about, well, look at the talent that we've got, and you haven't got that in London because they've not been discovered in London. So, you know, and just sort of telling clients why they should take a chance on you. I pretty much just knocked on doors and was like, hi, this is me. This is me models, and this is what I can do for you.
Yeah, great.
And then that was it, really.
Amazing.
So
amazing. Tell me some of the names that you now have worked with then, some of the big brands that you've worked with.
God, I can't remember them all, you know. It's not, but like the big one for me at the start was like, I want to work with ASOS because I know how influential it is for models. So when I got that gig, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. River Island, New Look, Miss Selfridge, we've done Pretty Little Thing, GD, Foot Locker.
Can't remember them all.
I know, do you know what? There's so much more. Like Dickies, Top Man.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
though.
there's
That's
loads.
Amazing.
Yeah.
At the points in time, and I'm bad for this, but at the points in time when you've kind of gone, wow, do you celebrate those things?
I feel like I'm quite bad for doing that, you know.
You know
I'm always just
it's
like...
It's the same thing every time I speak to someone about this. Yeah.
I'm grateful for what I've achieved, and like I feel like as I'm getting older now, I can look back and be like, right, I can see what I've done, but I know it's not enough. Not in a selfish or greedy way, but I think...
What's next?
What's next?
It's instantly on the next thing, isn't it?
But it's so fast paced.
Theme.
You know what I mean? Like people are constantly looking for new faces. So I've got to always like keep a lookout for that next fresh face and build them up and get them in front of clients like you guys. And hopefully, you know, the client will fall in love with them. And then if they work with that client, they'll go on to that client. And hopefully it's just like a snowball effect from there. But yeah, I am quite bad at looking back, being like, oh, look what I've done. Because I just think time moves quick, and especially in the fashion world, you've got to move quick with it.
Oh, it's quick, isn't it? Fast paced.
So I don't really have much time to be like,
well done me.
Well done me, exactly. I don't think I've ever said that myself, really.
It's terrible, but I'm going to say it to you. Well done you.
Oh, thank you.
It's really, really incredible what you've achieved.
Thank
really
you.
is. What do you, so in terms of becoming a model, and I'm sure there's a lot of people, and I speak to a lot of people, and Rachel, I'm sure you speak to a lot of people, that when they find out what you do, they're a bit like, Vogue, like, what do you think of me? Like, so you must get this everywhere, being able to scout and kind of put people in something, like the thought of, I guess, a model meeting you and being like, oh my God, he could get me an ASOS or whatever it might be, like, they are going to then do everything they can to... So what's that like?
It's a funny one. What we get all the time is, even like at family gigs, look at me granddaughter, like look at me niece, look at me godson, and you think, oh my God. But like in the art, like beautiful, but they might just not be models. Do you know what I mean? Just because someone's not a model doesn't mean that they're not beautiful. It's so, like
we'll
so much more.
We'll come to that then, Rachel. How do you explain, I guess, as a brand, do you want to explain as a brand how we kind of like to use real representation, which is one of the reasons why we love Terry and your agency, because the people that you kind of have on your books give us individuality.
Yeah.
And we love that.
Love that.
So do you want to try and explain, I guess, what it's like trying to work with a model versus someone who's not a model? Because you've done both.
Yeah, so when I first started here, we did a Beautifully Real campaign where we got a lot of kind of people into who weren't, I guess, signed with agencies and stuff. And it was a fabulous shoot. It was an amazing day, and like everyone thoroughly enjoyed it. But working with people who aren't kind of signed models versus who are, they're miles apart. And I think it's like with anything in any job role, you have to have like the correct skills to be able to do that. Modeling's a performance. You literally have to be able to act, and you have to have those skills to be able to, once you're in front of a camera and all the lights, you do your job.
Got to switch on.
And it's like, we've done little things in here where we've jumped in and done little videos and little GIFs and everything. And oh my God, you're sweating. You look awful. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, these people are talented.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But doing it with like proper models as such who are kind of used to it and that's their day-to-day job versus other people, it's quite difficult.
Yeah.
They know the poses, they know which their best angles, where the light hits their face, like literally silly things like that. They have all this in the back of their mind. It's literally a performance.
It is, yeah. I think it's easy to see, like as well. Like, sometimes I've worked with models when you maybe still get like I don't know, like a rate card or something, and you see them and you'll be like, right, and then you pray and you think, please go behind the camera, please go behind the camera. And then they get them in, and sometimes and you're shooting, and sometimes without even looking at the screen, without even looking at the photographer, you can watch them work and be like, these are going to be mint.
Yeah.
These are going to be mint.
Everyone's so different. That's what we've learned. And some people come in and they're so nervous they can't even look at you in the eye. So, but I've got a soft spot for people like that, and I just it's like an instinct when I'm looking for talent or when I'm meeting them in the agency. I think, oh, there's just something there, and I want to dig and find out what's there, and I want to get something out of you.
Are you the Simon Cowell of modelling agency, where you just see?
I'll be the Cheryl Cole.
Cheryl Cole. That's much better. That's much better.
I'll be the Cheryl Cole for sure. But no, I feel like I just can see stuff. Do you know what I mean? And I think if they are a bit nervous, but I believe in them, I want to bring them on and nurture them and develop them and just get the confidence out of them. Or some people come in, they might have had a bit of experience and they just know the angles.
Yeah.
Or you get those ones that are just naturally born to do it.
Yeah.
They're just, as soon as they're in front of the camera, and that's it. They just know what they're doing.
Rachel has this skill.
Right.
Rachel has
not
this...
in front of the camera.
No. Sorry, I mean, scout. I mean, Rachel has the scouting skill.
Okay.
So there's been a few times now where we've been out and about, or we've been, and Rachel's like, stop people in the street.
Yeah.
Just like, excuse me, have you ever done any modelling? And she'll get one of two things. She'll get no, or she'll get, yeah, I'm signed with whatever. And she'll get, and it's like, so, and there's been a couple, I think, actually, did you and Lizzie scout the same person?
Literally did.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? Yeah.
It was like, oh God, it was a couple of years ago now. I was in a bar with like my partner and his friends, and it was all a big celebration. They just asked him to be best man, and it was a lovely evening. And I was like, pause, rewind, I need that guy's Instagram handle. And these people were like, yeah, out with your partner, what you chasing after other fellas for? And I literally followed him up to the bar and I was like, excuse me. And he was like, what do you want? Like, is something wrong with your drinks? I was like, have you ever modelled before? And he was like, what?
I think it's always good to get them in a bar because they can't really run away.
They can't run away,
work there.
but also you can see them in the natural environment. So you get a bit of the personality.
Yeah.
You can see all the angles. It works.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, yeah, yeah, that like, I've never modelled before. I was like, I need your Instagram handle. He must have messaged us like every week.
Oh.
And then I seen on Lacey's story, she did a bit of behind the scenes, like new sign or something. I think she put like an emoji over it, and I was like, I know this guy. I know him. Yeah, it was fun.
Well, that's good. We've definitely got the same taste, which is good. That's a good start. Maybe that's why we work together.
Maybe we just have the same eye.
Yeah,
I just find that amazing that Rachel's out for a meal with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend's just sat there rolling his eyes at the fact that Rachel's asking for some guy's number on Instagram.
That's what I would expect. I would expect anyone to do that who works for me. Because you've just got to do it, you know what I mean? Because if you lose them and stuff like that, that's it. You could have lost out on work and stuff. So
from my point of view, my experience is slightly different because I've been the makeup artist. That's how I met you, isn't it?
Yeah, like on a short film or something, wasn't it?
Ages ago.
It was years ago.
Years and years ago, yeah. So
that would have been about 8 years.
It would have been, yeah.
Crazy.
It was a long time ago, but I used to obviously do the makeup so I did a lot of like magazine stuff. I did a lot of fashion shows actually. The ones that were in the Northeast. I did London Fashion Week, all the rest of it. So on a shoot, for me, I just watched. And I could see behind the camera, and I could see the models, and I could see who would come in, who would work it, who wouldn't. Yeah. And then I think for me, you get that skill, don't you? Yeah. And you get to learn, all right, these are going to be really nice shots, or these are not. And as a makeup artist, for me, it matters.
Oh, totally, because you've got to look at how the makeup looks. Under the lighting and stuff. Yeah.
And also, at that kind of stage, when I was in my career, if it's a front cover, I want that front cover to be damn good.
Totally.
So that matters. Which photographer, which model, it massively matters. I actually got to a point, this is bad, where before I would accept a job, I would ask who the photographer and who the model was.
I feel like that's fair though. I feel like all creatives do that because everyone needs to work as a team for one. Yeah. But everyone needs to complement each other and bring something to the table. So definitely.
Yeah. So if somebody's listening and they're thinking, I want to be a model, I would love to be scouted, what would be your suggestion to them? What's the process like? Obviously, we know they either got that something or they don't. So what's the process like from, I guess, start to finish to being signed with Savalas?
We get asked this question all the time, and really all we need is just natural, clear shots taken off any smartphone, no makeup if possible, just slim fitting jeans and just like a vest top or like a plain t-shirt, just strip back just so we can see like your natural beauty come out. Put a bit of your own personal style into it as well. Just headshot, 3/4 and full length, side profile. That's the options that we have on the website when people click on join us. That's all we want to see. If you've had a bit of experience, great. But, we don't necessarily need people with experience. If you haven't got experience, that's fine.
Do you do coaching with your new faces and stuff as
well? We do, yeah. So the coaching sort of like part of it is just like going on to test shoots, coming into the agency, like taking digitals, showing people how to walk, learning them about your clients, educating them on what to say, what to wear, what to bring. It's a full process. But yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
One of the other reasons I think why we love working with you guys is because the amount of times that we've had models turn up to shoots and we've given them a brief. The brief's basic. Don't come with makeup, natural nails, and maybe bring like
very basic.
A plate vest top or a this or that. Some of them will turn up. They've got falsies, full face of makeup, and a good pink jumper or something. And you're like, good. You did not listen to anything that we've requested here.
We always chase up. We'll send sort of the call sheet with all that details on from the clients, and then we'll follow up. Have you read the call sheet? Have you seen everything that you need to bring with you? All the time.
It makes so much of a difference on the day because it just means that everything runs smoothly from our end. Like if someone pitches up I've had people in the middle of like a city that's not our city, I guess, pitch up. Did you read the call sheet? Did you bring everything requested? Oh, I didn't have it, so I didn't bring it. And I'm like, so now I'm in a city that I don't know in the middle of a shoot and I'm going to have to go out to the shops
to get something.
If you don't it's simple. If you don't have it, just email us
Yeah,
beforehand.
I think
Like,
when
I
you
can go.
totally, and I think when you're a model and you sign to an agency, I think you need like your basics, like vests, nude underwear, hair bobbles. You know what I mean?
Staples,
Just staple pieces. A pair of black heels or nude. You know, just all the
Have a model bag.
basics.
Get the basics.
Bag,
Even go to a cheap shop, get all the basics and keep it in your model bag.
Yeah, and
Totally.
just have it
And then
ready.
just have it at the ready. The models that we come in with, and sometimes they'll come in, they're like, oh yeah, I've got this, and Rachel's like, I love you.
Yeah, we always say more the merrier, so
Yeah.
bring some extras just so they've got
Absolutely.
choice.
People
We
who
love
turn up with a
options.
suitcase, I'm like, I love you.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
I
can
love
come
those
back.
people
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Literally.
yeah.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, honestly.
Bring a suitcase.
Yeah.
If you want to get in with Westbound, bring a suitcase.
Yeah. No, it is good though because it gives everyone option.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Let's talk a little bit about diversity.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of, I guess, different diverse, I'd call them categories, do you kind of represent?
so all sorts of people, really. That's the best part about the job. I just work with so many different people from different walks of life, different genders, different
there was
race.
a time where you had to be size 0 and 6 foot tall, and that was it. Wasn't
Yeah.
it? Like you can't get in unless that's the criteria.
Yeah, totally. And that wasn't really that long ago, to be
No,
honest,
no.
was it? But the industry's definitely changing and it's evolving, which is great.
Yeah.
And there's so many amazing people coming through now.
Yeah.
But at Savalas, we've got all different types of people. We have plus size models who are naturally more curvy. We do have models who are size 6 and 8. We've got models who are gender fluid. We've got black models, Asian models. All different types of models, and I like to represent all different types of people from all different walks of life. And I don't like to just bring on people just saying, right, okay, I'm going to tick a box.
Yeah.
And I've never had that approach. And actually, recently, we got contacted by a charity called Models of Diversity, and they congratulated us on me representation
Wow,
and how
that's
diverse
amazing.
we are. But what they said was, which I'm so grateful for, they says, I can tell you're not doing it to try and tick boxes. It's all organic. And I says, do you know what that means so much?
Yeah.
Because I've had that approach from day one. The first model that I signed was a black model and we achieved amazing things
that
together. Vera.
I worked with Vera.
Yep, love her. She's a
loved.
legend. And yeah, she did amazing things and she just waved that Savalas flag all over where she went. So
All over the world, might I add. All over the world. Yeah. She's
That's
been
amazing.
everywhere.
it was great because we were both starting out. Like I just set up the agency and she just started a model. And I met her on the fashion show and she was getting scouted by like Elite and all the big names. And I said, oh my God, you need to go for it. This is before I had the agency. But then when I decided to set up the agency, I was like, oh my God, if there's someone that I want to start the agency off with, it's definitely
You
you.
have to come here, yeah.
And I think we had a meeting at Wetherspoons or Costa, I can't remember.
Get in.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. Just tell her about me life plans with the business in Costa or Wetherspoons, can't remember now. And yeah, she achieved loads of things, but I learned so much about her as a person, her being a black model, about black hair, black skin. And I feel like I've become a little bit of an expert now on Afro-Caribbean hair, on what products models need to bring to them on shoots, recommendations of different salons they need to go to, talking through different styles, and also like sort of makeup shades and things like that, just and that's all thanks to Vera, really. We learned that together. And you know, there was times where she was sitting backstage and the makeup artist didn't have a shade.
Yep.
Or they didn't have the right products.
I'll never forget my very first shoot with Vera, and she pulled out a backup, and I was just sad. I was like, that's really sad. I said, no, I don't need you. That's fine. I said, it's fine. No. And she said, oh, I've got this for my hair. I said, I have the exact same product in my hair.
Oh, that's amazing.
She was like, what? I was like, yeah, no, it's fine.
But you know, I think what wasn't happening when you were doing it and when she was doing it, people were getting hired, but they weren't educated on black hair and black skin.
Yeah.
Which, like, imagine sitting in a makeup chair and someone putting a completely different colour foundation on your skin.
And then you having to go and rock it behind a camera as well. Like, it's just
Yeah,
like,
or
no.
quickly running off to the bathroom and trying to warm up your complexion. Like, you know, that must be awful.
Yeah.
and so uncomfortable. And especially if you're a new face, you don't want to speak up because then people might think, oh, they're being a diva, or we're not going to work with them again. But at the end of the day, you know, someone needs to feel comfortable.
It's basic, isn't it?
It's basic of
stuff,
course,
yeah. So I've got some, you've probably got some as well, but I guess if anybody's listening and thinking, well, could I be a model? Apply, right? Just go for it. Apply.
Just apply. Definitely.
And they can apply on your website.
Yep. So savalasmodels.com, click on join us, and literally it gives you a full lowdown on what we want. It will ask for all your information, like your stats, where you're from, date of birth, all of that. The youngest is 16 with parental consent.
Yeah.
And then the age just goes up and up. I don't really have like a set age, to be honest with you. I would love someone who's in the 40s and the 50s, because we'll get things like that through all the time.
Yeah.
So,
go for it. Guys, if you're listening and you want to go for it, go for it.
Definitely.
Go for it. You never know, you might be on ASOS next year.
You could be.
Who knows? Or you could be on West Barncourt.
There you go.
Well, you could be.
You might be. You have to go through Terry first, though.
Yeah.
Or Rachel, or both of them, really. Yeah, amazing. So I think the other thing I wanted to chat about is the elephant in the room around modelling.
Right.
In the so the industry itself in fashion, I guess, has a bit of a bad reputation for size 0 and all of that kind of, or it did have, should I say.
Yeah.
So I know that is changing, but do you still have any kind of, do you still struggle with any of that with any clients, or do you still find that an issue ever?
Do you know what? I think the UK is really good on body diversity, body size, body image, everything under that umbrella. I think it's really good. And I think clients are definitely championing it a lot more now. But I think in markets like South Korea, they want the girls literally stick thin.
Yeah.
They basically want a boy's body. They want the girls to have a boy's body, basically. And they want them to look like very youthful, like very youthful. And we recently sent a model over to South Korea. And the agency knew our measurements. It was a full process. Like, it was like 3 months in the planning, like with visas and things like that. And the agency knew all our measurements and stuff, and we measured her, like, obviously before she went out, because I didn't want anything to happen where the model would be put in a situation where the agent would be like, you need to lose weight. I've never ever told a model to lose weight. I never have, I never will. I just don't believe in it. What I do believe in is healthy models, healthy agency, healthy clients, happy model, happy agency, happy clients. And I think you need to inspire models to look after themselves, not just for modelling, but for just the rest of their lives. Obviously, we all know you've got to look your best as a model, whatever size you are. Do you know what I mean? But it's just about educating your models and just for the longer picture, really. But anyways, she was over in South Korea, and the agency pretty much told her to lose 1 to 2 kilos. Well, someone told her 1 to 2, and then someone else told her 3 to 4 kilos. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
And that's a lot for a young girl to take on. In fact, whatever the age, but, you know, come on, especially a young girl. And I was so mad because the agent knew our measurements. And I says, you knew our measurements. Why did you decide to take her over if she wasn't right for your market? You know what I mean? You're causing more damage to the girl than anything. And
it's good that you're protective like that, because I think that can cause, that kind of approach can cause and can or be a trigger for any model who has maybe or does ever suffer from like an eating disorder or anything like that.
Totally, for the rest of their life. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, oh, well, you know, this is great now. They're not going to want to do modelling and stuff. It's going to really affect them mentally for the rest of the days. You know, I don't know what the outcome was going to be until I spoke with the model. You know, we found out pretty much over video call with the model, and she was really upset, and it was just an awful place to be because you're stuck in the agency in Newcastle and they're over in South Korea.
Really far away.
I appreciate all markets have different needs and expectations, but I also think things like that need to be pre-agreed. And if the model does need to like tone up and things like that, it's about speaking with the model and seeing if that's right for them. But never to tell anyone to lose weight. That's just not the way I operate, because I think myself, if someone told me that, that would just finish me off.
Yeah.
And I
you
would
don't know
feel
where people's mindset are.
Totally.
You don't know if
Definitely.
people have recovered from something. You don't know how they're feeling about themselves. Like, I think from my point of view, I've worked in, I think because I did a lot of London Fashion Week stuff, and I'm saying this because I want anybody to understand that this, and I haven't done London Fashion Week for about 3 years now, so might have changed in the last 3 years, but the last 3 years that I was previous to that, when I was there, it definitely is still around.
Well, you know what, right? Here's me thing. There are models who are 16 to 18 to early 20s who are naturally that thin.
They are, yes.
Okay. So like Vera was very thin when I signed her, but she was naturally that build.
Yeah.
And she would eat pizza. I would go out with her. She would have chips. Like she would drink. Do you know what I mean? She would have the diet I would have.
Yeah.
But she was just naturally that athletic.
Yeah.
And it's like genetics. It's in our genes. Do you know what I mean? To be that build. Do you know what I mean? And I knew as she would get older, she would just naturally, like, our body would change.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are quick to judge models who are very thin or, you know, quite athletic. Oh my God,
And they
must
get
starve
branded.
themselves.
Yes.
And, you know, they're naturally like that. And that's healthy at that age, in that stage in their life.
Yeah.
So I think people just need to remember before they judge quickly.
Yes.
On all shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
But I think you have to be in the industry to know that.
Yes.
So
'Cause
that's
you do
another
see
thing.
it's one or the other way, isn't it? Sometimes
Totally.
they'll be like, oh, it's like, you know, too skinny or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or that. Like, that's just as bad and just as damaging as saying you need to lose weight.
Totally.
Like, don't comment. Like, don't mention it.
No.
It's not up to you to decide whether that person. And these are people, they're human beings. They're not your doll that you can like dress up. And you know what I
Yeah,
mean? I think from my
definitely.
point of view, every agency I've ever worked with, most of them have been great and lovely. Some of the clients that I've worked with have been horrific.
Right, okay.
So there was one or two specific clients one that I refused to work with again. I did 2 shoots for them. They were a designer. And the second shoot, they had a Russian model. And she was, again, naturally very small. Naturally very, very, very thin. And they did some test shots before they got her in the outfits. So she was in nude pants, nude bra. So very stripped back, very slim. Up against the backdrops, and they started shooting, and the photographer and the client, I was the makeup artist at the time, and the photographer and the client basically spent 5 minutes as if she wasn't in the room, ratifying this girl, and she just looked through them as if she's heard it all before. And I was just like, and I thought, do I speak up? I'll get sacked if I speak up here now. They'll chuck me off this because I've done my job.
Yeah.
The makeup was done.
Yeah, right.
So I was
God.
like, I'm going to have to they'll kick me out if I say something now, but I'm actually potentially about to say something because they were saying, well, those arms are not measured right. I'm sorry, but their agency's completely lied there. I'm sorry. And I was looking at this girl thinking, at first, they think she's too small because that was my immediate. And then they were like, absolutely not. Those arms are far too big for this dress. I don't even think they're going to fit in. As she was right in front of us and the client. So this is why one of the reasons that I love that you protect your models like that, because some don't. Some agencies don't. And some clients treat them like crap.
I think like me and Lacey are very big on mental health.
Yeah.
Welfare, like well-being, you know, all of that.
Do you check up on like how they're eating, how they're stuff like that? Or
Definitely,
yeah.
like all the time, you know, if people are obviously always talking about like I'm at the gym and stuff like that, so I'm always intrigued to know what's your routine at the gym, what's your diet like and things like that. I'm not an expert, but I think, you know, I would definitely know red flags if I heard them.
Yes.
So, but also mentally as well, like I like to check in on models, and me and Lacey as well, we check on each other daily, you know, how are you feeling, how you're doing. I think when you experience things with your mental health and stuff, it changes you as a person, but also makes you more aware of other people's emotions.
Yeah.
And you've just got to look out for models at the end of the day. They're not just models, they're human beings.
Yeah.
Yes, there are products and they sell, other clients' products and things like that. I totally get that. But also these people are human beings. They have feelings.
So I've said that once before. So I did nearly get chucked off this but actually, so again, I was waiting for another client, another designer. I was on London Fashion Week.
Yeah.
And it was one of the shows that was like a stand-in show rather than a walk. So
like a presentation.
Yeah. So they were doing that first and then they were doing the show after.
Yeah.
So I think it was more like press.
Right. Okay.
For the presentation. And then anyway, so we'd got them all in these positions. There was like a big circular curtain around everybody.
Right.
Like a tunnel. So it was in this really dark, it was really cool presentation. Models were all there, their outfits were incredible. And this one model whose makeup I'd done, she was chatting, and I looked and I thought, she looks white. Mm-hmm. She looks white as a sheet. What, is she all right? Mm-hmm. So I went over, I said, are you okay? She said, I just need some water. I just really need some water. And I was like, she's going to kill over if someone can get her some water.
Yeah.
So I went out, I got her, I've always got bottles of water.
They do, they have everything all over,
I always bring some.
That's good.
But they've got them everywhere.
Yeah.
So they had this lovely branded water everywhere.
Nice.
And I went and got one. And again, I always keep straws. As a makeup artist, something you should just keep.
For the lipstick.
Yeah. So I got a straw, I got the water, I held the water in my own hands and I held the straw to her mouth.
Yeah.
So she didn't have to touch anything. I was worried about, obviously not worried, but I was cautious of the
garments,
outfit and the garments, I held it and she said, oh, thank you so much. And I said, you okay now? She said, you okay? I said, take some deep breaths, wiggle your toes. I'm sure you know the tricks, wiggle your toes. Mm-hmm. So, just so they don't faint.
Yeah.
So I said, take some deep breaths, wiggle your toes. And at that point, some guy came over who was one of the designers. What the fucking hell do you think you're doing with that around my garments? Get out. Absolutely not. You're bringing water into this. What the fuck's wrong with you? Now, usually in any other fashion week kind of show, I would just take it. But this day, I was done.
Right, okay.
And I was like, I'd done this show. It was one of the last fashion shows I'd done. And I was like, I'd done this as a favour to a friend because I was in London and they said, look, please can you come and give us a hand with this show? We need an extra makeup artist. And I was a bit like, oh, I can't, I really don't, it's not my scene anymore. I don't really, anyway, I did it for a favour. So I thought, you know what, I'm just done. So I just looked at him and I was like, absolutely not. I said, first of all, you're not going to speak to me like that. Second of all, she's a human being before anything else. And he just looked totally shocked. And he was like,
I'm not surprised.
And angry. And I was like, and I just looked at him as if to say, nah, give us your best shot, mate, because I'm ready. And he went, right, get that water out of here. I says, I'll take it when she's finished. And I was fuming. I don't blame you. And he just walked off and stormed off and he was like, this is an absolute joke. And then about 10 minutes later, he came over to us and he was like, hey, well, you're a bit of a diva, aren't you?
Really?
And he was fine.
Do you know what it is? I think...
I know.
You're the diva.
And I was like, I said, the way you just shouted at me was uncalled for. He went, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm stressed.
Do you know what? This is the thing, like...
What's that, shield?
This is the thing. Fashion Week brings out so many different emotions. I think you've just got to be ready. Yeah. You've just got to be ready, prepared, and you've just got to know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
But actually, I think that designer would have really appreciated you speaking up to him.
He actually did. Later on, he says, I don't think anyone's ever spoken to me like that. You know? And I was just like, well, whatever, mate. But like, so you can, in those kind of high pressure, you've got a lot of big personalities as well.
Yes, definitely.
A lot of big personalities.
Yes.
People will say things that they're not bothered about saying. People will comment. There was another show we actually, because I'm conscious of it now, because the previous show we had 4 fainters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, it is. I mean, you know,
And
the
they were
thing
on
is,
high podiums.
this is it. And they stand for a couple of hours ago.
Yeah.
And they're all standing.
They're standing.
Some of them, you know, where the models have to interact and the dancing and stuff. I remember Vera did. It was Osman presentation, but they were all dancing and there was like bottles of champagne and stuff and they were in lovely gowns.
Yeah.
But I think if you're not moving, that's when you've got more chance. And it's hot because there's so
statues.
many people in.
Yeah, this one was like statues and they were on, I'm not joking when I say high
podiums.
podiums.
Oh my God.
Big, like they were like these big glass podium things. And we were kind of just like watching them drop. And that it was hot and it was seriously hot. And then and they were coming out. It was at the ME Hotel in London.
Right.
And they were coming out and we were just like, oh, they're dropping like flies. Like, this is bad. But
how long were they standing for?
It was about an hour.
Right. Okay.
So you wouldn't think, but when you stood still,
Yeah,
for that entire,
and you compose and you look,
and that's it. And the thing is, I think people don't realise, like, as well. I've been in shoots as a makeup artist and in here and at West Barn where you have got no idea how difficult the position that the model is in. I'm talking about the physical position that they're in.
Yeah.
How painful that might be for them.
Yeah, and also when you're going back and forth to different shows, like usually those girls have so many shows in a day, or they're going to fit-ins and castings, and sometimes you don't get a chance to eat a full meal.
Yeah.
You just have popcorn.
So that's what had happened to this show. They'd all came straight from Milan Fashion Week.
Right, there you
and
go.
And it was a morning show, so they'd all just got off a plane. I'm not even joking. They'd came from one flight straight to the show. They were running in. Like, it was like mad.
Yeah.
It was mad.
Or probably would have been New York if it was London, because it's New York, London,
yes,
Milan.
it was. Yeah, it was New York, yeah. They just got off planes and they were knacked. Our job as makeup team was like really tough because they were exhausted. They'd had breakouts from the flights.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dean. It's going to kill me today. I've knocked this mic about 6
And
times.
even just the heavy makeup.
Yes. Yeah. So I remember thinking, it's going to be hard work. They all look exhausted. Yeah. But no. It's interesting though. I think we could talk about this all day, couldn't we?
I know.
We could really talk about this all day. So I think, if you're interested in doing it, get yourself applying. And my advice as a makeup artist has always been, get good representation. Get someone who's going to look after you.
Yeah.
Get a good agency. Terry's your guy.
But I feel like good agencies have good clients as well. Like,
Yes.
I really can't stand when models are not seen as like human beings. Like, that really winds us up, because I don't think you get the best out of a shoot or the team if you don't work as a team.
Yeah.
Like, you all have to be on the same wavelength,
Yeah.
the same page. Otherwise, you're not gonna get what you need out of it.
No.
And I feel like the model really has to be involved.
Yeah,
They're like the
definitely.
star of the show. Like, if you really irks us. I'm like, you are literally the star of the show. Like, if you are not here doing your job properly, like, this thing will fall apart. Like, I want you involved from the start to finish. I want you to enjoy your day. I want you to have fun and like working with us. And I think that's when you get the best. That's when you develop really good client agency relationships and things like that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
There's a lot of agencies now that do like expand as they grow and stuff. So they go into family, or they go into like influencers or anything like that. Is there anything like that on the horizon for Savalas?
Well, we do have an influencer division, and we do have one or two girls who do have like quite a good following on Instagram and TikTok, and they've got good engagement. It was never something that I wanted to do, because I just love old school model booking.
Yeah.
That's what I'm about. That's why I start. That's what I love. But it all happened organically through lockdown. Because one of the girls, Becky, she was new and wanted to push her for like more of the glam clients and stuff. And I couldn't get her any test shoots. So she got a backdrop from Amazon and some lights, which I told her to order and just to practice. And then the pictures were turning out quite good. She started posting them on her Instagram. And then she started getting brands sending her things. And her Instagram started creeping up. I was like, hold on a minute. I think we need to take over this and like manage it. So I just took full control of her Instagram, managed all her inquiries. And we started getting sponsored posts for her now. She earns off her Instagram and through modelling.
That's great.
So that it was quite organic. I'm glad it happened that way. So I've worked with loads of different brands for Becky, like hair extensions, cosmetics, clothing, all different types of brands. But the whole Instagram world is just so crazy.
Yeah.
And, influencers only want to post certain things that feel right to their Instagram and their audience. So it's all about learning and adapting and growing the pages, and Lisi goes out and takes the pictures for Becky, and I usually do the deals with the clients and stuff. So that's a whole new chapter for us, but we've had it now for about 2 years, so it's quite good. Yeah, I think it'll just grow naturally. But in terms of the agency, I just want to keep that growing really, and I would love to expand the team and keep expanding the model boards. So
loads of new faces.
Yes, always need new faces. So Never not looking for new faces.
Yeah.
Everyone always asks, do you need new models? Yes, all the time. And it'll always remain the same.
Yes, it will forever be needing new models.
Yeah, all the time.
So you said earlier, although you've achieved some incredible things, it's not enough.
Not enough.
When will it be enough?
I don't know.
What is the goal? Do you have one?
I do have goals. I do have exciting things happening in the pipeline, which hopefully I can share soon.
Yeah.
I can't share just yet because
that's fine.
it's all behind the scenes. But there are some exciting things happening, and I think I would just like to share more of Savalas and more of what we do. And
do you like that there's always something? Do you like that feeling of it's not going to be enough?
Yeah, because I think that's what keeps you hungry for more.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps, I've got to drive the business. Do you know what I mean? So if I don't have that, then I don't think I'll move forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've got that, and I would like to think I'm moving forward.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
there's exciting things happening behind the scenes and stuff that I hope I can share soon. And I would like to share more about Savalas and what we do as an agency and how we do it, and more about the story. So hopefully I'll get an opportunity to talk more on that.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. This has been lovely. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
in.
you.
You've been a marvellous guest.
Ah.
We could talk about this for hours and hours on end.
I know.
So I'm going to wrap it up there, Rachel. Thank you for being a wonderful guest as well.
Thank you for having me.
And if you guys haven't already, you can watch us on YouTube. Do the subscribey stuff. Someone else needs to state that because I always get it wrong. Do the subscribey things and like and stuff and all the rest of it. If you've got any subjects that you'd like us to cover or any guests that you'd like us to get in, send us a DM or a comment. And hopefully you really enjoyed this, especially if you're interested in fashion or the modelling world. And we will see you guys next week on Just Another Group Chat.